Hey, thanks for joining us today. My name is Josh Ford with Sellers Launch, and I'm joined here today by Eric Spalding from Sellers Launch as well. And we just got together today. We were kind of going through, doing some work on some different accounts, and we got to talking about Vendor Central. We got into this really good back and forth discussion, and I thought, hey, this might be, a good discussion to shoot on camera so that we could share it with all you out there who are managing Amazon accounts, looking to grow your Amazon account. And some of you sellers out there who maybe you're not on Vendor Central, you're not sure what Vendor Central is all about, what the pros and cons are. So today what we're going to do is we're going to get into a discussion. We're going to kind of let you peek in and see kind of, what are the differences and the pros and cons between Vendor Central and Seller Central. So thanks for joining me today, Eric. I know you prepared some slides and some different things real quick for us to do and share with our audience. So, what you got in store for us today, man?
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I would like to just give an overview about the pros and the cons of Vendor Central. So, a lot of sellers start off selling on Seller Central. If they're an established brand and they have prior selling history with big storefronts, then there's a chance that they've been invited by a Amazon seller themselves or an Amazon buyer. So Amazon has reps that will go to trade shows and recruit vendors, and these vendors are giving their product at a discounted price for Amazon to sell on their page. Mm-hmm. Now that has some pros and that has some cons. The pros to that is Amazon, with any Vendor Central account, Amazon gives you what they call Amazon Marketing Services, AMS. So AMS gives you headline ads, they give you the sponsored ads underneath the product, and then they give you product displays ads that allow you to advertise underneath your competitors. It's very helpful. As brand registry has developed over the last few years with Seller Central, you do see some very similar advantages. The difference is not everyone has a trademark and not everyone's able to get their brand registered. So an easy shortcut is, if you don't want to wait the year for your trademark to register and play the waiting game, if you have a Vendor Central option, you can hop on board and you can start playing with the big boys from day one. So some of the advantages, I would like to share my screen.
And now before you get into that, Vendor Central is by invite only, correct?
Absolutely.
So that's the difference. Okay.
Yeah. So unfortunately, just because you want to sell on Vendor doesn't mean you're gonna be able to. But what's weird is a lot of people that have Vendor Central don't understand the opportunity that they have. So it's a two-headed sword. Like this segment will be really helpful for people that already have Vendor Central.
Okay.
And then people that might have the possibility, if you are selling at trade shows or if you have your product placed in physical spots for people to buy in wholesale, then you're more likely to have a rep come to you and say, hey, we really like your mug, we'd love for you to sell it here.
Okay.
So it is invite only, but if you have it, there's a lot of things you can do.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, so let me go ahead and switch over here.
All right, perfect.
All right, so you're on.
So this is an example of what we call enhanced brand content. So this is just, it says product description on the top left here. And that means that this is a brand registered enhanced brand content graphic. So if you have your brand registered, then you are able to put graphics instead of just words on your description, which really helps conversion. Okay. It keeps your customers involved and it keeps them engaged, and really you can teach them on how to use the product all within the product page instead of making them read boring paragraphs. Mm-hmm. This is huge, and this is only available to people that have trademarks right now. Now, with Vendor Central, they have something called enhanced brand content, or A+ content.
Yeah.
Sorry, enhanced brand content's for Seller Central, whereas A+ content is Vendor Central's version of this. And that looks very similar, and you've probably seen it when you're shopping around. The only difference is it says from the manufacturer on the top left instead of saying product description.
Yeah.
And the layout's a little bit different when you're designing this. You have more freedom with enhanced brand content via Seller Central, whereas with Vendor Central, you don't have as many layouts to pick from, but in a way it's easier. So they don't give you as much freedom, but it's much simpler to submit. That's one difference between the two. Another.
Okay, so this is Vendor Central A+ content right here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, just quick question. So on Seller Central, when you're doing your EBC, so obviously the seller is responsible for managing that EBC content, right? So they're responsible for uploading it and managing it and submitting it, right?
Sure.
So is that the same process on Vendor Central, or like who's doing the marketing or the A+ content? Who's in charge of doing that?
Sure. So the seller is in charge of doing that. So if it's my Vendor Central account,
Okay.
I still have to produce all of this. It still has to be my graphics. Amazon's not taking pictures for me, and they're not making these infographics. But what they are going to do is they are going to send you, they're going to send your products via email to their customer list. So if you get emails from Amazon that say like, hey, this product is $5 cheaper than it was yesterday, or they're going to send you notifications about certain specials, and if you're enrolled in their program, Amazon Marketing Services, you're just going to get that for free. Along with that, they allow you to add videos to your pictures. So
Okay.
I have an example that I want to go to the next screen. This is an example of, if you look over here on your left-hand side, you have your product images, and on the very bottom you can insert a video. And so if you were to click play, then you could see the video play. And this helps tremendously when customers are like, this infographic kind of explains how to use something, but if a video like shows a whole 3D model of it actually working, then yeah, it's perfect. So videos are great. Enhanced brand content / A+ content, like that's great. And then you also have the advantage of advertising. So if you've ever typed in a keyword, and we'll just do, let's see, we're going to type in candle. So if you type in candle, you'll notice that there's headline ads right here. So this you can have with a registered brand via Seller Central or via Amazon Marketing Services with Vendor Central. So this would be a headline ad. These 3 ads right here are your sponsored ads.
And just to clarify, Amazon recently changed headline ads over to what's called sponsored brand ads. So, but they're pretty much the same thing. But if you're like a new seller and you're just getting started, you'll see this is now called a sponsored brand ad. So there's sponsored product ads and then there's sponsored brand ads. So this is a sponsored brand, or used to be headline.
Yeah, so you have these 2 options, and then if you click within one of these, let's see. Okay, so if you're on your page and you just scroll down just a hair, on your bottom right hand side you're going to see an image pop up, and this is what's called a product display ad. So this brand is actually displaying like they're competing with themselves on their own page. Whereas like some people, if you were selling a candle and you wanted yours to be noticed by someone that's selling really well, you can place yours on their exact ASIN, which allows you to just like headhunt who you want.
And that targeting feature is a new thing as well, right?
Yes, yeah. It's unleashed within the last few months. But there's some sellers that are becoming like really, really good at it. So like if you're selling a candle or if you're selling any physical product, you can always like add it to a matching product. So if you sold a candle warmer, you could plug that in. Or if you had matches or lighter that you would light the candle with, like you can advertise on there.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of different ways that you can cross-sell your products, and it's become a huge advantage.
Cool. Nice. So we kind of giving you some bonus tips there, even though we're really targeting in on Vendor Central and some of the positives of that. These are also some additional benefits that if you're a Seller Central account, or I guess let me clarify. So is the targeting feature something that's also available on Vendor Central?
Yes, so it's actually available on both platforms.
All right. Okay, cool.
If you don't have a trademark, then you can't register your brand. If you can't register your brand, then you can try to get a Vendor Central account to get these outlets, which is great.
Okay.
Now, what's kind of awesome is a lot of vendors that have been selling for years, like if they're a 10 to 15-year-old business, more than likely they've been approached by an Amazon vendor at a trade show or anywhere like that where they have their product displayed. And these Amazon reps. Is that what I'm trying to say?
You mean the people who invite you to vendor or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that Amazon has reps,
Mhm.
and these reps are going to come and look at your product. If they like their product, they're going to invite you to join
Right.
Vendor Central. Now, when that happens, a lot of these people just jump on board and they say, "Okay, yeah, I've heard Amazon's great. If you guys are going to help me with it, then let's go." Well, it's a fast process in a way to get your products listed on Vendor Central, but the problem is you don't have all the control. So if I'm going to buy this microphone and then my cost is $5, then my MSRP, like I'm going to list it for probably $20. I'm going to hope to sell it for 20. So I'm going to suggest Amazon sells this for 20. If I suggest 20, they're going to say, okay, like if you're selling it, if you think we should sell this for 20, we're going to buy it from you for 10. You're going to be like, wow, I could make $5 on each one made, but then there's also commission. So with each Vendor Central agreement, they're going to take a cut of each one sold on top of the like agreed amount. So it might be 15%, it might be 30%. It really depends on what your terms are.
Okay, so then to kind of clarify, the pros and the cons, just of that little narrow part of it. So Amazon invites you, and then you offer them a certain amount that they can take, right? A certain number of units
Yeah.
that they can take up front, and they will try to get it at a certain price, right?
Right.
And so the advantages are that you could get a good number of units just unloaded all at once, right?
Correct. Yeah.
The disadvantages is that the margin is going to be like really ridiculously small, most likely.
Right. And then another factor is Amazon, like since Vendor Central is a product of Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon typically rewards themselves over other people. So if you have a Vendor Central product, then Vendor Central's most likely going to get the buy box at all times, unless you really undercut them.
Mm.
Now, most vendors don't even sell underneath themselves. So, like, if I have a Vendor Central account and I've just been selling wholesale for a few years and I don't understand Amazon fully, more than likely I never started a Seller Central account and competed with myself.
Okay.
Which I find as like the biggest advantage. So these videos and the A+ content, those are all good and fine, but the cool thing is Vendor Central is going to establish your products as they want them to do well. Now, they are typically only going to buy a case or two of what they think is going to sell out like within that week or 2 weeks. So if you are averaging 10 sales a day, they're probably only going to buy 70 units the next week. Well, if you happen to sell 140 that week, like if you're on pace and you sell out of those 70 on day 3, well, now you have 4 days until Vendor Central is going to make another order, and then it's going to take a few days for it to be shipped. So you have about a week downtime of you or Vendor Central not making sales. So a great thing to do if you have a Vendor Central account is create a Seller Central account,
Okay.
and at least list those same products at a higher price so you don't compete with them, but when they're out of stock, you can sell your own product. So here's an example of what that would look like.
Quick question before you get to that. You want to go back to the where it had the video?
Yep.
So let's say we do that, right? So we have a Vendor Central account. We open up a Seller Central account so that we can sell on that listing as well. Would the A+ content and the videos and all that stuff still be displayed, or only if they have the buy box?
Oh no, they'll be displayed at all times.
At all times,
So
okay.
that's the great part.
That's really good. Okay.
When you upload it, it's almost, I wouldn't say it's 100% permanent, but it's there for a good amount of time. I've never had the video disappear.
So it almost might be worth it, like, if they invite you and they take an order, and let's say the goal is like it doesn't work out long term for them to want to keep reorder and buying from you, at a minimum, like you get all this great A+ content to optimize the listing. Maybe they don't reorder anymore from you, but now you have the buy box as a seller on Seller Central, and then you still get to keep all this great content.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like one theory people do try every now and then is if you have a product that you think is going to be really, really good, and you have a Seller Central account and you have a Vendor Central account, and you say, okay, I'm going to give it to Vendor Central just to see what happens. A, because I want all these advantages, and B, like, of course I'll sell it to them if it makes sense. Now, a lot of people start at a very high price because if vendor likes you and they like their products, they take gambles every now and then. So, like, one account I was working with, they just ordered 240 units of a product that never had a sale yet. So, like, we had a case of 240, and Vendor Central said, I want one full case. So we sold them 240. Now, at that 240, we priced it pretty high. Like, the units themselves cost us about $1. We charged vendor $5 per bottle, and they're selling it for $7. Now, that's not much margin for them, but they don't know what our cost is, and so they accepted it the first time. Now, they haven't made another order, and we're okay with that because we want to sell that underneath our own account because we want to make more profit with that. Now, you can juggle both at the same time. So if you make it a good number, like if we were to say, okay, it only costs us $1, we'll sell it to you for $2, and then that allows you to have a $6 range of, from $2 to $7, so you have a pretty good profit margin if you're Amazon there.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to reorder, and you're probably going to want to place our products in front of people that aren't Vendor Central. So there's a few advantages in there. So one way that you can really take full advantage of this is if you sell your inventory to Vendor Central, and if they order 70, right? So if they order 70 this week, and you're on pace to sell more than 70, you're like, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to sell this 70, but really on average, I'm going to sell 100 this week. So I'm going to have 30 sales of someone's getting this sale for the item. Like if they type in puppy pee pads, that customer is going to buy that from someone.
Right.
So if ours is listed and ours is active in a good product placement that was good enough for Amazon to sell out of their inventory, you might as well list yours right underneath there. So if you look, Amazon has theirs for $23.98, and we're selling ours for $29.97. Now, that's because we don't want to ruin this relationship with Vendor Central. We want them to keep ordering from this product.
Yeah.
But once their buy box goes away, now we are the ones with the buy box, and we get a lot more margin.
Yep.
So that's like the biggest advantage there.
Now, another point, and maybe you've already kind of alluded to this, but let's say they run out here. What if we were priced at that price, but we had the buy box? Would we not still have a decent margin because they're not getting a cut of it, or not? Really?
Well, you will. It's yes and no. So it all depends on kind of what your commission rate is with Amazon. With Vendor Central, so for one account they might charge you 15%.
Okay. On
another account, depending how you got it, depending on your Amazon rep that signed you, they might be taking commission off of that. So I just was working with one account where they're getting charged 28%, and another account's getting charged 15%, and they're both Vendor Central accounts. So it's not.
It's negotiable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that really depends on your profit margin. Now, if it's only 15%, then yeah, you could probably compete with their price. Now, if it's higher than that, you're going to lose money if you try to compete with their price.
Gotcha.
And they know that.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason they're doing this. It's
right.
because you can't undercut them if they're getting the chargeback.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, you can undercut them, if the price makes sense, but it's still kind of a risk because if you undercut them and they're buying a lot from you, if you undercut them, they're going to expect a lower price too.
Yeah.
And so
now, can they renegotiate the price after the fact?
So they can't.
Or is there a certain term that they have to stick at that?
Well, they can suggest a lower price on their next order, and if you agree on that and you still have inventory from your old order, they're going to take that away. So if I have 20 units left and they say, hey, we're going to make a new order, but we want to buy it at $4 instead of $5, I'm like, okay, that's not bad for this time. Well, they're still going to take $20 from my $1 per unit that's left in inventory because on this date I agreed that I would sell it for $4. So they're like, okay, well, thanks. I'm going to keep $1 for this.
Yeah.
So it's not the best scenario if you have stock in there, but at the same time, Vendor Central increases numbers. So if you're stuck with a lot of inventory, it can be well worth it.
Right. Okay. So if you, let's say you're invited, you're already working with Vendor Central, you've already got inventory selling through them, does that mean, is it only per item?
Yes.
Yep. So is there anything? There's not really anything that you can do as a seller to say, hey, I'd like you to look at these other items.
Well, you can
Okay.
add. Sorry, you can add as many products as you want to your Vendor Central catalog.
Okay.
Now it's kind of like a store. Like it's the back end of your Vendor Central account kind of looks like the back end of your Seller Central account.
Mhm.
However, like on each item that you're scrolling through, Amazon can pick and choose. So they can click the box and say, I want to order 50 of these.
Yep.
I want to click this box, I want to order 50 of these, but the next 8 products, like, we don't want. Or we might have had in the past and they didn't sell as well, or we just found another vendor that's selling the same product as you, and they're willing to give it to us for a better price. So then competition comes in. It says, all right, well, competitor A, they're selling for $4. Competitor B is selling for $3. Why did I stop getting sales at $4? Well, it's because Amazon picked up another brand.
Mhm.
And they're like, hey, like, we don't care if it's your mug, my mug, anyone's mug. All I want to do is I want to sell mug.
Yep. Yep.
So that's the thing is Amazon, as long as your product's like the best in a way, like the best of its kind at the price margin, they're going to keep ordering. But if someone beats you out and beats your price, then like you're still going to get the advantage of A+ content and the videos and all that. You
Yeah.
don't have to have an Amazon you don't have to have a product be bought by Amazon to upload the videos and everything else.
Okay.
You can upload your whole catalog, upload your videos, upload your A+ content, and then if Amazon wants to pick you up, they can. But if they just say like, we don't like this product or we don't like that product, like you still get the advantages of Amazon marketing services
Okay.
without having to like answer to them.
Okay. Okay. So then, if you have to be invited by Amazon for them to pick up a specific product, like, so does that mean you can't even establish or create or set up a Vendor Central account without an invite first?
Mm-mm. You need like a certain code from them to
Okay.
like get through the first step.
Okay, so once you're through that first step, once you have a Vendor Central account, let's say they've picked up one item from you, does that then give you the green light though to then, you said you can add your whole catalog once you have an account? Now that doesn't mean, now Amazon's not going to pick up, they're only going to pick up some of your items at that point, but let's say they've picked up one item, you've got another 10 items on there, and you've put A+ content on there, and they're in your catalog, so will those listings then be live on Amazon.com?
So they will be live if you have a Seller Central
Gotcha.
account as well.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to update all the info. It's going to be viewable, but it's going to say currently unavailable.
Gotcha.
Because
So
the buy
another
box is
advantage of
empty.
having both the Seller Central and Vendor Central.
Gotcha. Yeah, and you can, in a way, you can launch products Seller Central and then add them to Vendor Central
Gotcha.
once they start getting sales, because Amazon's more prone to pick up something that's hot than something that's cold.
Gotcha.
So like if they do, people say that it's hard to get a product picked up from the very get-go via Vendor Central. It's happened like a time or
Without
two,
selling on Amazon at all.
right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times that's because like the brand is popular or they view it as a good, successful brand. So the last item they picked up sold really well, so they're like, hey, we like you, we're gonna order again.
Yeah.
But if you don't have consistent sales with Vendor Central and you try to launch a brand new product via Vendor Central, it's going to be a hard uphill battle.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they like things that are already going well, and they just want to be part of the ride.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, was that all that you had on the slides for right now?
Yeah, that's really like the main highlights that I think are for Vendor Central. It is kind of hard to get into the door for Vendor Central, but once you're in, like, the sky's the limit, because even if you're accepted for, let's just say, pet supplies, but you also sell home and kitchen and you also sell sporting goods, like, you might have to, a lot of times Amazon will limit you, or they will make you apply for certain categories. So you will have to be approved if you're trying to go from pet supplies to sports and outdoors. But as long as you have like a reason for doing that and you have products that fit, then they're going to accept you. Like it's just they want to funnel through and make sure that you're just not selling like bogus things.
Right.
So
Okay. All right. Cool. Well. All right. Well, man. I mean, I think this has been some good stuff. I mean, I hope some people have got some some good tips, or at least have a better understanding of Vendor Central, some of the advantages of having both a Vendor Central and a Seller Central account. And so there's really nothing, is there, other than what you've already alluded to, if somebody's really wanting to get on Vendor Central, there's really not a whole lot they can do like themselves, other than just trying to like have a good selling product.
So there's two things. Well, yeah, there's one thing you can do now. There used to be two. So in years past, there was a program called Vendor Express, which like anyone could apply to. But I don't know if Amazon's like turned that down completely, or if they just kind of put it on pause. But as of right now, they're not accepting any invites.
Okay.
So or they're not accepting any applications. So like, if you can apply using Vendor Express,
Gotcha.
then you have to be invited by Vendor Central. So yeah, they aren't currently accepting invites right now, but hopefully they will soon.
Yeah.
But that's one scenario. Another scenario is if you're really, really gung-ho about getting there, is go to some of the trade shows and display some of your products, just like you would to wholesalers. Because there's so many Amazon reps that are going to Las Vegas for different trade shows and going different places because they want the best of the best. So they're going to go through and be like, hey, that's a new item I haven't seen before. And like, Amazon reps typically are willing to take a risk more so than like an independent buyer would, because they know that like they have Amazon in their back court where they can just add and it's probably going to sell.
So obviously I would assume that these reps have like a commission or some kind of incentive, and that's why they're putting...
Yeah, and that's all... There's not a set commission or there's not a set deal. It's all kind of how they work things. And I really think category matters too. Like if it's a very niche type category, you're probably going to pay more in commissions. But if it's a very broad category, there's more reps, so you're likely going to pay less.
Gotcha.
But that is one thing that I would recommend really diving into, is a lot of people just sign the paperwork without really reading it. And then when they start selling, they see numbers like, I made 1,000 sales today.
Yeah.
Or I made 1,000 sales this week on vendor orders. But then like that month goes by and you look at your bottom line and you actually lost money because you sold it at basically cost, and then that 28% took $2 away from each item you sold. But with that being said, it did generate sales and it did get your product to page one, like because you were selling really, really well.
Yeah.
It was just at a loss. So like going forward, you don't want to do that all the time, but within the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of a launch, like it's not the worst thing in the world, like to lose some money going up front.
Right. Okay, so so Amazon wants to take your product. So let's say that they want to do 250 units. So do you know what does the process look like as far as like do you ship them the units? Because let's say you don't even have a Seller Central account and they approach you and you want to get on there. What's that process look like as far as like getting the product to them? Because I'm assuming everything that is Amazon sold by Amazon is naturally going to be Prime and it's going to be in their warehouse, right? Or
for the most part, so it really depends on the size of the item. If it's a huge item,
because I had a custom client that did custom stuff and the vendor wanted to sell it. So obviously that's a different scenario, because if it's custom made after the order, they can't really keep inventory. So
it does really depend on the type of item, like custom items, and the capacity it's going to take up. So
gotcha.
Especially during Q4. So like, October to the beginning of January, you're going to have a harder time shipping more things, just like you are during Seller Central. Like the fulfillment centers fill up, and like for new sellers especially, there's a limit for you to for your products to take up. So with Vendor Central, they're going to be a little more hesitant to take things that are above 60 inches because that's a huge amount of space that they're losing if that's not going to sell.
Right.
So a tip, sometimes they'll make you like drop ship when an item's been ordered. So they'll send you the label, you'll print the label, you'll put it on your box and drop ship it for Amazon. And they're paying for the shipping. That's the key part, is you don't have to pay for the shipping. And then the other way is you would take all 240 units, if they're small, and you're going to ship it to an FBA center, and then they're going to
Who covers the cost the FBA shipment cost to get it there?
So that's also covered by vendor.
Okay.
So with vendor, what's nice is vendors using Amazon's rates, and they're so heavily discounted. Like sellers get a good discount, but Amazon gets a lot better discount,
Sure,
right?
sure.
And so you get to use that advantage too. It's like shipping's free, but like with that being said, typically, typically shipping is free, but you just have lower profit margins. So in a way, it kind of evens out.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, at least it's good that they take over some of those costs. Otherwise, it would almost be like impossible.
Oh yeah.
You know, unless you're just trying to unload some inventory that's just slow selling and you just want to get rid of it.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen some products that basically, if let's just say it's one of the products that you come up with a new model each year. So you have the 2016 model, you have the 2017 model, you have the 2018 model. Well, if it's 2018 right now and we're about to launch our new product 2019, but we still have 5,000 units of our 2018 edition, we're going to try to sell those out as much as we can to vendors. So we're even going to lower the price because they're always going to send you emails saying, like, even if they're happy with buying this for $5, they're going to see an email in 2 weeks saying, I'd like to buy this for $4.90. And like, you don't have to accept it, because if you deny it, they're still going to order at $5 more than likely, unless someone that was in your field like agreed to that price.
Gotcha. So you don't have to do it, and as long as there's not somebody else that they can go to who's willing to give it to them cheaper, so the main advantage or reason for me as a seller to want to agree to taking it at a lower cost is if I have a major concern, because I know there's competitors out there that could undercut me and take that business away.
Right.
Otherwise, there's really, why would you lower it?
Exactly.
If they're going to continue ordering.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's like, in a sense, you do have to do your homework, kind of stay on top of it, because if there are competitors that are like selling at a competitive price to Vendor Central, even if they aren't Vendor Central people, that means your niche is becoming more competitive. And so like, you have to do something to stick out, whether that's give more or make your product better or increase customer experience.
Yeah.
Like, you as a seller need to be doing more anyways. You have to be proactive. Otherwise, like, someone's going to take you. Like, someone's going to take your place for sure.
Yeah.
Whether that's Seller Central, Vendor Central, like, it's a fight.
Right. Gotcha. All right. Well, this is some good stuff. Do you feel like confident that we can just kind of as like a closing summary give like some quick bullets as to like the pros of Vendor Central, the cons of Vendor Central, just like boom, like
Sure. So I would say
pros first, I guess.
Yeah. The pros would definitely be, you can get rid of inventory fast.
Okay.
You have free advertising, which is huge. So I guess it's not free. You do have to do pay-per-click still. So, so if someone clicks on your headline ad, you are going to get billed that 60 cents that you budgeted for that each click.
Okay.
But without Vendor Central or without a trademark, you can't do that. So that's a huge advantage, is the headline ad. The video, I think, is very underrated. Like, if you have a product video and someone doesn't have a product video, I typically always buy products with a video, like as a seller or as a buyer myself. Like, videos persuade me. So the video, advertising, unload inventory, and another good thing is if products have been existing and been selling on Vendor for a few years, and you aren't selling on Seller Central, more than likely you're going to have over 100 reviews on this product. And so Amazon built a perfect foundation for you to build as you want. So there's so many possibilities you can do with a product with 100 reviews that's like 3.5 stars or above. So if it's a 4-star product with 100 reviews, you can easily take that product that you're selling to Vendor Central and say, okay, I have no problem selling this to you for cost, because I'm going to make a bundle and I'm going to make a 2-pack.
Gotcha.
And this 2-pack I'm not going to offer to you.
Gotcha.
And I'm not going to upload it to Vendor Central, because I can just piggyback on what I've already established with my 1-pack. So I can give them a better deal on the 2-pack, make some profit on the 2-pack, and then Vendor Central is going to make us money on the 1-pack.
Gotcha.
And so that's like where I think the biggest goal is. But with that being said, if you're starting today in a Vendor Central account, that's not possible.
Okay, so this would kind of be also categorized as a video we could do in the future, which would be about how to like piggyback off that to optimize the listing, get more reviews. You know, because I'm sure there's people out there. A big thing everybody wants to know is how can I get more reviews?
Sure.
And this is potentially one way, if you get invited, if you're able to go
Right.
through this process.
Yep. Because yeah, and we can explain more on that a little bit later. But the reviews are huge, and Amazon wants their products to sell just as well as you do.
Yep.
And like they're also going to be sending you emails saying like, we noticed that you reviewing this, so you should buy this, and like that's all part of the upsells that you get for free as a vendor. So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you, joining us today as we kind of, it's our first episode here. We're wanting to hopefully publish content a lot more regularly. So we'd love to get some of your feedback in the comments. And, if you have any other questions, if there's anything that we really didn't, cover or touch on as it relates to Vendor Central and some of the pros and cons and advantages, disadvantages of Vendor Central, feel free to go to our website, sellerslaunch.com, and you can contact us there. You can go there to sign up for our email newsletter. We'll have more resources coming over the coming weeks, coming months, or you can post in the comments below. But we'd love to get your feedback. We'd love to hear what you thought about this and any tips or ideas for additional content that you'd like us to talk about in the future, and we would be happy to do so. So, Eric, I appreciate you diving into this stuff today. I definitely learned some things, and I'm sure that the audience did too. So, appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next episode.
Awesome. All right, guys, signing out. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.